Good morning, everybody, and welcome to What Needs to Pivot on this amazing Thursday morning. Uh, we're going to be talking through a handful of things today on what needs to pivot in your business. And then on Fridays, we're going to do a bit of a Q&A in addition to into just some teachings on what needs to really pivot right now. And what we find right now more than ever is I'm going to kick off every single one of these with the same thing, which is mindset. We have to have the right mindset. It is very easy on a daily basis, because that's how fast things are changing, to shift our mindset, to be in a mindset that isn't healthy necessarily. So what do we need to do to have the right mindset? Well, be positive. Be the most positive person in the room every single day. A little bit of positivity. The power of positivity is far reaching. And what's interesting is, it's way easier to be negative. It's way easier to focus on the bad things versus focus on the good things. As an example, I saw a post the other day that was like, it had the graphics of those who were affected by, COVID-19, those who had passed away from it, and those who had survived. And everyone was focused on those who had passed away. And then someone was like, has anyone ever sat down to look at how many people have successfully got past this thing? I was like, yeah, that's an interesting look at it, because it's true. So be positive. It's a choice that you get to make. Don't panic. Those kind of things never help. Look for small wins every single hour. I mentioned this to a group yesterday. Every single hour, your business and you should be looking at what are the small wins. How do you remind yourself to look at those kind of wins consistently? What can you do to help those that are thriving right now? How do you stay positive in these moments? Sometimes less news is better. Ultimately, lead the people that you're around you, whether that's your family, whether it's yourself. And yes, we can lead ourselves, because that's mindset right there in and of itself, is leading ourselves. Whether it's the team you have, whether that's the friends you have. I've received so many notes from friends asking me, what do you think about this? And my responsibility is to keep them above the point. My responsibility when they ask that is to not feed into the angst and stress. And so I lead them. Well, we got some good things. I'm thankful for health. And I ask them, what are you grateful for today? And they go, what do you mean? Like, you should be grateful for something every single day. So what's today's? And they always kind of sit back and go, I haven't thought about that. Okay, what are we thankful for? Wherever you're watching this right now, what are you thankful for? Be honest with yourself. There's a lot to be thankful for right now. So we have to be positive. Next thing, to pivot outside of mindset, because that should be a daily, sometimes hourly thing for us. Outside of mindset, then we got to look at marketing. Marketing right now, more than ever, is about adding value. It's always been about adding value. The difference is more people were interested in trying to sell than to try to add value. So what are the ways that you need to add value to your community, to your customer base, to your prospect base? How do you need to properly add value? Make it about them. Ask questions. Don't make a whole bunch of statements. Ask questions. What are the things that you all are going to? That's why I'm thinking about making the Fridays of these a lot of Q&A. So that way we can just have an open, honest dialogue around this. To say, what are we actually doing? What needs to increase or decrease right now with your marketing? Well, we should probably decrease us asking for a sale over and over, and increase how much we're adding and helping others. Your competitors are doing something, so what do you need to do to stand apart from them? What are those things that you need to be doing consistently? And our 5-way numbers, if you've never been coached from us, because I know some of you on this right now have not been coached by us before, that's leads conversion. So total number of qualified leads coming into your business, and however you classify that. Every industry classifies it differently. So how do you classify a qualified lead for your business? Your conversion rate, the number of those individuals that turn into sales, or into patients, or into members, or into subscribers, or into clients, however you classify it. Then we look at how often you're getting repeat business, which is going to be a point here in a minute. You should be focused on repeat business and reaching out to your community and saying, hey, here's the honest truth of where we're at. This is what we're seeing. This is what we're doing. This is what we're not doing currently. This is what we will be doing in 4 weeks from now. And truly plan for the next 3 months before this whole thing is said and done. Realistically, shelter in place until May 1st. Most likely I'm going to have my teams, even if the shelter in place lifts in the next, they're saying April 13th, April 15th, depending on where you're at. Most likely I'm going to have all of my different teams staying shelter in place until May 1st. Because that's the safer thing to do. And right now, safety is more important and health is more important than doing business. And then by the time we get to end of June, then we're going to start getting truly past all the peaks and stuff like that. So you have to understand how to properly look at your numbers throughout this. And, I shared this with a group yesterday. We have a client who told me, they're truly shut down. They can't, it's hard. It's almost impossible for their business to be virtual. They may be able to sell some products and supplies that they would normally use. With that said, though, the majority of their team has to go on. They kind of get laid off for the time being, or at least massive decrease in salaries, just to continue business. So the business can survive. He goes, you know what though? When we open back up, we're going to be so busy. We're going to have so many weeks packed of scheduled already out that the teams never even noticed that they had a reduce in salary. So that's awesome. You have to know your numbers so you know how to properly plan for them. So then you look at how often or how much people are spending each time, and then what's your margin on that. So you have to understand how to measure and track all this stuff. So often I'll sit down with a business owner for the very first time. Did this yesterday. And he's like, I am noticing the major gaps in what I'm doing because I've never tracked and measured this stuff. So we have to start doing that. Your marketing must be an investment, which then leads to sales. So you have to understand with the marketing that we're doing, what is that actually turning into when it comes to sales? And what can we sell right now? Again, repeat business is the best way to begin that whole process. So what are you actually going to sell? What could you sell right now? What could you sell virtually that you've never sold in the past? Maybe you have supplies in your physical location that other people could use. We have a client who does yoga and things like that. I was like, so do you normally provide the mats and stuff when they come to your location, or do they normally bring themselves? And she said, no, I provide it. Like, great. So what if you rented that out to them, created an online program, and did it virtually? And then the renting of your stuff became an added profit center for your business. Oh, that's interesting. Never thought about that. There you go. What is it that you can sell? What can you package together? What do you need to package together with other businesses to create a larger value-added package? And now they get 3 or 4 different things all at once. Especially when you look at locally owned businesses, that's an awesome opportunity to come together as a community and say, you know what? We're going to bring these 3 businesses in. We're going to have one thing from each one. We're going to bundle them all together, and now we're going to hand them out. And now we're going to go sell that together because now we have 3 sets of customer and client lists that we can go sell to. How do you need to innovate your business when it comes to what you're selling? How do you keep your customers regardless of what the situation is in the economy? How do you communicate all of this to them consistently? Again, it's about adding value. How do you communicate what you need to communicate right now? Thirdly, compassion, empathy. Right now, everyone's stressed out. Not everyone. A lot of people are. And candidly, it's a lot worse for others than it is for some. So sometimes we do need to slow down. Sometimes we need to sit for a moment and just go, you know what? I'm thankful that the sun's out and I can hear the birds chirping. And I'm going to make sure somebody today knows that I'm thankful for them. There's a story of the greatest car salesman ever who just wrote a simple letter every single month to 100% of his past clients, just saying, I like you. I think at the peak of what he was doing, he was selling about 2,000 cars a day, sending out, tens of thousands of I like you handwritten notes every single month. It's amazing what a little empathy and thankfulness can go. So what are those kind of places that you actually do need to slow down right now? Because right now, a lot of things are slowing down. So that's a good thing. What are those things that are around you that you're like, you know what? I never realized what I should be thankful for and grateful for. Our lives are so busy. We kind of miss some of the small stuff, which also helps you kind of stay calm, think through things more logically instead of emotionally. Read more about people. We have a lot of stuff that we do with our clients on how to understand how the brain works, because that kind of stuff really matters. What are the gaps that you need to go close in what you need to learn right now? It's an amazing opportunity to self-educate. And if you're one of our clients, we have 6 months of stuff that you can go learn. And we're about to add a few more actually in the next couple of weeks on life, and then on this whole thing, on COVID-19 and how to thrive through it. First, you got to survive, then you got to thrive. So what are those things that you need to work through on compassion and empathy? Slowing down. And then the final piece is you have to plan. More importantly, you have to plan and then take action on the plan. And if you at the end of the quarter, you're either going to be successful or not. And that will be determined on one of two things: the right plan and the right action. Because you can have the right plan and no action, and you don't get the results. You can have a whole lot of action without a good plan. It could be a bad plan with a whole bunch of action behind it, and then you get no results. So you have to have a good plan, and then you have to have the right amount of action taken. Stress and anxiety doesn't help. And when we look at how to reduce the feeling of overwhelmness and things like that, it's when clarity kicks in. So how do you become more clear for both you, your family, your team, all of it, on what needs to move forward? We want to still look at the end and say, what's the end destination that we're striving to go get? And then how are we going to get there? Candidly, your end destination for the end of the year should not be any different than what it was 3 months ago. Whatever you wanted this year to be, shoot for it. Still strive to be it. Because again, this is a chapter, and this chapter will end. And then the amount of business that people are going to be just itching to get out of their home by the time this thing is all said and done. Your business can thrive. So don't change the end destination, just change the pivot plan of what needs to be done right now. And communicate with your team. Hey, look, this is still our end of goal. This is still our commitment to the business of where we're going. We just need to make some corrections to make sure that we still get there. And for the next few weeks, how do you move forward with 30% revenue that you're used to? 20% revenue. For some, 2% revenue than you're used to having. For some, it's 300% revenue because they're booming right now. Maybe you should look at, packaging something you do with what they're doing. They have all these sales going on, because clients keep coming or customers keep coming in. Maybe you should look at how can I give something to them to give to their customers. Innovate, create the right plan, and then move through it all. Invest where you have opportunities. At the end of all of this, you're going to have some massive opportunities in business to invest. For those who are smart with their money, with their decisions that they make, with their team and all of that, there will be some massive opportunities on where to invest at the end of all this. So plan for it. Be smart. And ultimately take action. So we've talked through 5 different things that you need to focus on in your business right now. What are the 2 things that you are going to start pivoting, and by when? What are 2 things based off of today that you're going to begin to pivot? And then when will those 2 things begin? Without a time, they're not smart. And we want all of your goals and commitments to be smart. So what are those things? What do they need to be? Type them in so we can all have the conversation going. And if you have questions, feel free to ask. Those are the 5 things. Mindset, marketing, sales, compassion, planning. Again, team only action brings you closer to where you want to be. So, two things that you're going to begin to pivot, and by when, please type those things in. Please put them on your calendar. How do you start your day every day being the most positive person for the people around you that you need to be? How do you pivot your marketing to be value added to your audience? How do you pivot your sales to combine what you're doing with other businesses to add more value? How do you lead your business and pivot through compassion and empathy? And when we look at planning, what are the first two things that you're going to go do? I'm Dr. Michael Hartley. I'm here to elevate your business, enhance your lifestyle, and tomorrow morning, invite one person to this whole thing, because we're probably going to do a little bit of Q&A, and make it a great Thursday, or whatever day you're watching this, if you're watching the recording later on. And let's go pivot some stuff. Let's go lead our teams. Let's go lead our communities. Take it bigger than just what you are right now. If you have questions, type them in. If not, make it a great day.